All right, thank you for staying with us. In a recent report, it was disclosed that Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation may spend more than 100 billion naira on petrol subsidy in March, going by the recent pricing templates for the commodity. Well, this is an indication that the oil and gas sector is yet to be fully deregulated. The deregulation of the oil and gas sector, which resulted in the removal of subsidy, may be a dream come true for the players of the industry, but there seems to be more demands, particularly by the oil marketers. They are now calling for full deregulation to make the sector more competitive for independent marketers and to also bring stability to the prices nationwide. It is believed that the full deregulation will bring more competitiveness to the space and even cause a price reduction due to stability and market demand. With the controversy surrounding the price of fuel, which has since been fluctuating and leading to queues at filling stations, marketers are of the opinion again of deregulation. And this can also attract investments and, of course, increase employment opportunities. Well, despite the demand of marketers, how effective is the role of marketers in ensuring a smooth, significant, and effective deregulation of the oil and gas industry? Well, I have joining me in the studio is the Zonal Chairman, Southwest Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria. He's a regular on the show, Mr. Dele Tajudeen. Thank you very much for spending your Monday afternoon with us. We appreciate this.
Good afternoon to you.
It's good to have you here.
Nice seeing you again.
Yes, so now I will start with all of this confusion that we had from Friday. I'll call it a confusion because even in the newspaper and everywhere you go to, it's like a confusion. PRA came out with a template. NNPC says, no, you are not going to increase. We still stay on the same price. Where do we really stand? You are the players in the market. What's been happening? How are you getting PMS, ex-depot price, and all of this? Are we expecting an increment anytime soon? Nigerians want to know.
Yes. The issue that came up on Friday really surprised everyone. And unfortunately, the online papers and the rest, I think they didn't get the information right before they start sending out information. And I think that they should be very careful because what happened on Friday really brought out confusion, like we really said.
Yes. And
it affected the supplies around that Friday, Saturday, up to today. And that was why you saw some pockets of panic buying and so on and so forth. But in the nutshell, there's no letter, there's no communication to that effect that the price has been increased. So there's no increase in the price of petroleum products by NNPC, PPMC. And I stand to be corrected because they actually sent out a letter to that effect that they debunked that. So there was no increase in the price of petroleum products.
How has supply, loading, movement of PMS, how has it been for independent marketers all the while?
Well, you see, this issue of subsidy removal has been a recurring issue at all times. And I think it is important for government because it is not marketers' issue. It is government's issue. It is government policy. And the ability of government to actually stand on their feet to deregulate once and for all, I think that will be better for us. It will be better for the government so that we won't have issue of saying one thing today, saying another thing tomorrow. Because we will recall that since the issue of diesel and kerosene has been deregulated, nobody cries about the price of diesel or kerosene anymore because it was fully deregulated and people have gotten used to it. If the price went up on the plat and if it comes down again, it is the market force that now determine how much you buy diesel and kerosene. So I think it is government policy. The onus lies on government to take a decision, and the decision is better for us because from the forecast, you can say that the price of crude oil is going up every day, and government cannot. They are just postponing the evil days. they cannot afford it, because on monthly basis, where you subsidize with about 90 billion, that is, and that would translate to about 3 trillion or something like that in a year. The government cannot afford it unless they are just deceiving us. They cannot. But however, I think the issue between government and labor should be laid to rest. And the people who are involved in this policy of a team should come together. The key players should be brought to the table to discuss it, because there is no how you can formulate a policy without input of the key players. True. When I say key players, we have the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, we have the IPMAN, we have the tank farm owners, yes. Especially tank farm owners. They support government a lot, because the supply we are receiving from NNP depot is grossly inadequate.
At the moment?
Yes, it's grossly inadequate. They cannot even supply about 20% of the consumption, because I think our daily consumption is about 60 million. So you ask yourself, how many million will Mosemi depot load? How many million will Lagos Satellite depot load? How many million will Ibadan depot? Those are the only 3 functional depots in Southwest, apart from the tank farm owner. We are so lucky that we have these private depots in around. Otherwise, we would have been in trouble by now. So I think these people have to be there to discuss the issue of deregulation. And I want to appeal to the host communities and so on and so forth, who will now go and fight at the floor of a discussion. So that's not even helping the situation. It's not helping the situation. Yes. So because in a situation whereby people's personal interest overrides the public interest, you will get nowhere. So people should please.
Now, I want to ask you this question directly, because you're a marketer, you're a player in the sector, you're a notable figure in the sector. Many think that if the sector is totally deregulated, maybe marketers will take advantage of Nigerians. Is that possible? How can it be monitored? How do we know that we won't be exploited? Let me play the devil's advocate and ask you that.
You see, in a simple economic terms,
yes,
when you allow so many players in the industry, that is competition. If the competition is high, naturally the price will drop, and there's going to be adequate supply. When there is adequate supply of products, any product all over the world, and you are at equilibrium, that is, you have the supply, the demand meets somewhere. Even when there is excess supply, there's glut. I mean, it happens to crude oil. When there's glut, the price comes down. So, issue of exploitation is not there. If your services, you see, when there is deregulation, when there is competition, you see, efficiency comes in. People have got to be efficient about it. Otherwise, if your station is not doing well, I move to another station, because the fuel will be available everywhere. And naturally, the prices will come down. Because if somebody is selling at 162 and I fail, if I sell at 161, I can still make profit. I drop my price. Before you say it, another person will drop at 160. So the person selling at 162 will not sell again. He won't have any other option than to come down. So issue of exploitation will not come in. I can assure you that marketers cannot exploit, because competition is going to set in. Everybody will want to be efficient. Everybody wants to sell. In fact, you will get to a situation whereby incentives will be given to customers before they buy from you. Like when you get to a filling station, somebody has to clean your glasses. In fact, you will have to say, oh, this is bottled water for you, as your patron. So that's sure that if it is totally deregulated and the availability is there, honestly, there's issue of exploitation will not come in. I can assure you that.
Because that is one thing that I know that Nigerians will really like to know. Now, you talked about supply not being so enough at the moment and all of it. But has there anything changed? Has anything changed with regards to the price at the moment, or is still being sold at the normal price? And that means clearly subsidy is back one way or the other.
Yes, the price bracket now is between 162 and 165.
That's at the pump.
At the pump. That is, you have the price brand is either you sell in between 162 or 160. You can go low as low as 160 if you so wishes, but the price band is between 162 and 165.
That's what we have at the moment.
That's what we have at the moment.
Some have also argued. Okay, make your point, please.
But that 162, 165, in some cases, it is not profitable to marketers. Reason being that, yes, NNPC still sell to us at 148.17. Then you pay for transportation and all of that things.
Okay.
But apart from NNPC depot, you can't get it at that price or elsewhere. The least you can get is about 159, 160. If you now buy at 159 or 160, transportation 3 naira. So it means you are, in fact, most of marketers are just managing to survive now with even
the margin is very low.
Even as low as 1 naira or 2 naira in some cases. I am telling you with all honesty of purpose. I am telling you with honor.
I've also had this argument with experts like you where they talk about they don't want an import-driven deregulation. Maybe because we don't refine and all of that. So that means the issue of government making us able to refine in country comes into play.
All borders on just allow other players. You know, naturally, what we have seen in this country is that government businesses has not also been thriving well. It has not been always thriving well. So it's somehow because over years we continue to import and it affects our revenue because an economy that the balance of trade is always at negative will never survive. You can imagine how much dollar you have to exchange to bring in products.
Like my colleague would say, basket of naira for little dollars. That's what you exchange. Now, for businessmen like you, some of you are on loans, you are running your businesses. How has it been for IPMAN members? How are they coping? And what is the projection? What do you see? How do you see the sector thriving in 2021 with all of these challenges?
I must confess to you that most of us are not doing well financially because one, we must not run from the fact that sometimes our margin was good, but currently our margin is not good, except for little ones you get from NNPC, which is maybe you get 1 truck in a month, but others that you buy from private depot, we don't make profit. And the irony of it is that you don't want to close up your filling station because you are not making profit. So filling stations cannot be used for any other thing than to sell petroleum products. If you close your filling station, you lose your customers. So there are so many problems attached to it. But we are only pleading with our members to please persevere for this period until things get normal. So that is it. But it has been a very, very difficult situation for us.
So in straight term, is a joint thing that you are advising government to deregulate. What are your requests? What are your demands from government at this time to make your business easier?
Well, government, like I said, it's a completely government policy, and government has said it over a year ago that they are deregulating.
Yes, they've said that.
But what we are seeing now is that it's not deregulated because government is still supporting importation of fuel with about 50 naira per liter now. Because if you look at the $70 per barrel,
yes,
to what government look at when they peg it at 162. So you see the difference is very, very wide. So government is subsidizing with about 50 naira per liter, and if you times that by about 60 million consumption in a day, per month, per annum, it's a lot. So, and well, anybody that can ride a good car can afford to buy this fuel. But another problem is that it affects all other, like farmers and the rest. If today they increase the price of the foodstuff, the transporters will definitely increase, and it will translate to increase in all other products. But government cannot afford it, so they are just postponing the evil days. It's still going to come one day, whether they like it or not, because what you cannot afford is what you cannot afford. So I am appealing to government to take the bull by the horn, to do the needful. If they have announced that they can no longer tolerate subsidy, that has been announced, and everybody has accepted that in good faith, then they should go ahead and do it, so that people know what to do. Because we are in a dilemma now. We are in a state of uncertainty. Exactly. We marketers, we are in a state of, I mean, today, tomorrow we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Next tomorrow we don't know what will happen. It's only when we wake up every day, whatever circumstance we find ourselves is what we. But if we know what the situation is, that will enable us to know what capital do we need. If I borrow 20 million naira from bank today, and I know that if they have the regulator they increase, I need 30 million naira, I will be able to go and look for 30 million naira to do my business. I'll be able to project how much profit am I going to make, how to pay salaries, and so on and so forth. So we need a specific a policy so that it will guide us on how to do our business. But for now, we are in a state of confusion.
That's a good way to leave it. I started that was the issue of confusion. And at the end of the day, we are also in the state of confusion. We need to get it right with the oil and gas industry. It's always a pleasure having you, Zonal Chairman, Independent Petroleum Market Association of Nigeria, Southwest Zonal in particular, Mr. Dele Tajudeen. Thank you very much for your time.
But Tolu, before I go, yes, the other time I was here, I came with the issue of NNPC migrating. Yes. You know, you said something that when the issue is resolved, I should not
to talk about
it. So I want to say with every sense of responsibility, and I want to thank the management of NNPC PPMC, because they acceded to our request. Wow. So although we have not gotten to where we are going, but at least we are already working together, and there is, we have agreed to work harmoniously, and we have agreed to bridge that line of communication between us. Though, like I said, the system, we are not yet, but we are moving. Okay. Because I can say today, at least maybe about 50% of our marketers have keyed into the system, and it's still ongoing. Once again, I want to thank the management of NNPC, and I want to thank our members for their perseverance, for their understanding, and we continue to collaborate with NNPC, because we are partner in progress. We cannot afford to be at loggerheads. Of course. So once again, I want to reiterate that we have resolved, and we are moving.
That's a good way. Thank you very much for allowing you say that, because yes, we actually promised that we're going to do that. Thank you very much. And that's also the power of the media. They've also seen you on air. Thank you, Mr. Dele Tajudeen. He is the Southwest Zonal Chairman of IPMAN. Thank you for your time again. I appreciate this.
Thank you, Tolu.
All right then.